So in today's video, I'm going to discuss why are visits to foreign countries very important for researchers in general and for PhD students and especially for faculty. So I came to know of this very slowly, and it was through a selection committee for associate professors and full professors. And when some of the senior people started mentioning that some candidates had a plethora of journal publications, but they never seemed to have gone out to any international conference, they never visited a foreign university to conduct any collaborative research and so on. And one of the issues which was raised by these people is that these people essentially have become bonsai scientists. So they are growing in a pot instead of growing in the field or in the forest. And very often you will see this shows up in terms of citations of these people, because essentially what happens is that people can continue developing their research on their own prior research, and therefore this kind of homegrown growth will get you a lot of publications, because people do not mind that you keep publishing in one particular niche over the years, but that very few people are actually interested in this research or are following this research. So again, that's why the particular term bonsai scientist or researcher sticks to these people, and there are deleterious consequences for these people in terms of promotion, prizes, awards, and so on. So let us look at some of the ways you can try to internationalize yourself as a researcher. So probably the simplest mechanism is these high profile international conferences which are there. And very often presenting your paper in these conferences and taking part in these conferences, attending the keynote lectures, the plenary talks, keeps you abreast with the different problems going on in the field. And it's very important that you do not become very separated from what is going on in the research currently, because then your research tends to become stale. Now the next thing you can do is look at short visits, and there are many forums which provide you funding for a short visit of 1 to 3 months to a foreign university. And these visits can help you to work with some other professor on a particular problem which you have proposed to the funding body for this visit. And I have found that these kind of visits get you a couple of good papers and also result in your expansion of the network to this particular university. And very often if you take part in the life in this university, it essentially gives you many new problems and a new way of viewing the research problems. Now again, from this 1 to 3 month setting, you can come up with these 3-month visits which are typically done during summer. And again, there are various bodies and universities which provide funding for summer visits, and these are also very productive phases, because at that time most people do not have courses to teach, and therefore they can devote themselves to research, and you can actually make as much progress in a summer visit to a university or national lab as you would probably in the whole December to December period. Now one more possibility is visiting labs and other universities during conference visits. And again, very often the conferences are held in venues where there may be nearby universities where you may know people, or if you know them only through your extended network, you may just send them an email and ask them that you want to give a presentation. And this is a good way to not only get to know some people at different universities, but also to spread your research. There's also the possibility of getting sabbaticals, and this is for people who have spent a few years at the university and the university provides them with the benefit of getting a sabbatical of 6 months or 1 year, and sometimes some universities give a 2-year sabbaticals after a prolonged stay at a given university. So these sabbaticals are places or situations where you can visit a university and do research with a certain professor. Sometimes you can write a proposal also. For example, if you are applying to JSPS or Humboldt or Fulbright or NRC, there are many bodies which actually provide you funding for the sabbatical, and in case they don't, you may have your own personal university funds which are there for the sabbatical, and sometimes these can be supplemented by some funds provided by the university to teach a couple of courses or to take part in some research. Now, why all this thing is useful is that very similar to how a Newton-Raphson method searches for solutions in the design space, when you start from a different starting point in any nonlinear search, you have the possibility of getting a new solution or discovering a new route. So this is something which happens to you when you go around different universities around the world, is that you may be stuck in your particular research problem, and this visit may give you a new starting point, and you may discover a new piece of research by doing this particular visit. One more thing is that whenever you do collaboration, there are instances where you may have a particular set of knowledge. For example, you may be a domain expert in a certain discipline, and what you may need is you may need somebody who knows an algorithm with which they can use your domain expertise to further the research topics. Or you may be somebody who would like to have an experiment done somewhere to complement his theoretical research, and you may not have the equipment in your lab to do this experiment. And so if you propose a experimental work with a certain person, and you can go to that particular lab, for example, the Max Planck research institutes in Germany, which are very well funded and equipped, and you can do some research there. So this is something which I did as part of my Humboldt fellowship, and that resulted in a couple of very interesting papers on insect flight. So again, in case you do not have equipment, or you are an engineer looking for collaboration with biologists or chemists or mathematicians, then many of these fellowships provide a useful forum of going to a foreign country and doing this particular research, and continue this research further at your home institution, write joint papers, books, and so on. Now, one of the aspects of doing all these foreign visits and conference visits and so on is that you get to expand your network, and you will find that after some time your citations will start rising. Generally, it is also true that papers which are published by people from different institutions across different countries tend to have higher citation. So that is something which will also help your case. Now, one more fact is that if you are an established scientist in a country and you go around the world giving plenary lectures, keynote talks, and talks at different universities, then your particular current research starts to spread across the world, and you will also see a lot of young people will start following your research. And so this will again help to further your concepts relative to somebody who only publishes in some journal and moves on to the next paper. One more aspect is that you can establish a pipeline of research between groups. So you may have a situation where a PhD student graduating from your lab goes to a university and does a postdoc, and vice versa. Or you may have people visiting you for summer who are UG students or master students. And many universities have also established joint PhD programs. So all these will help you not only do better research, but also look at research which has high value in terms of some important problems such as sustainability and so on. Now, of course, the side effect of this is beyond professional growth, and that is you may develop a set of friends around the world. You get to travel to new places, and these are huge fringe benefits which come out of a research career which many people do not understand or quantify. when they go on the PhD path, that they can visit all kind of countries, they can meet people in a very nice setting, and they can have friends across the world. So this is a fringe benefit of a university job. Now, on a more practical note, all these things will help to bolster your CV. So if you have cleared any of these fellowships and got funding, that improves your CV, that provides a selection committee with one more set of points which tells them that, okay, one committee has cleared this guy, so this guy must be good, and so on. You also get good references from some of these people with whom you may have worked if they are senior people. You also find reviewers. So not only the people with whom you work, but you get to know various people in the department. And so when referees are looking for list of people, or you need to give a list of names for referees for a particular journal, these names will come in useful to you. Finally, the advantage of this kind of visit abroad is that you become global, and so you may have more possibilities in terms of a global move in case things are not working out at your home institution. Now, just to summarize some of the bodies which I know which give you funding for these short visits and conferences, I think I mentioned them before, but you can remember Humboldt Foundation, Japan Society of Promotion of Science, Fulbright Foundation, DAAD, that's another German body, DFG, Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft, that's another German body, the RAE in UK, and a plethora of such bodies are there. And in your own country, there will be certain programs typically established by the Science Institute of the country or Academy of Science, which will have relations with the Academy of Sciences around the world. And these exchange visits are also possible to visit various countries around the world and do research with them, and also to have a break from your activities in the university, which may get dry and boring at certain points of time. So again, these were some insights for you, that why you should try to visit foreign countries and do collaborative research. And this will also help you from becoming a bonsai scientist, which can have deleterious consequences for your research career. So thank you very much for listening to my video. Stay tuned to my channel for more such videos. See you in my next video.